Uh, I call this meeting of the South San Francisco Youth Commission to order at 6:33 p.m. Could we have roll call, please?
Yes, please verbally indicate whether or not you were here. I'm sorry, I'm also eating a cough drop because I'm recovering from COVID, so I apologize for any slurring. Chairperson Lizzie.
Present.
Thank you. Vice Chairperson Adriana.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Jimenez.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Avila. Commissioner Kamal.
Oh, sorry, here. It was taking me, I couldn't unmute for a second. Sorry, my bad.
That's okay, thank you. Commissioner Kamal.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Cyrus. Commissioner Halu.
Here.
Commissioner Ho.
Here.
Commissioner Hua.
Present.
Commissioner Ibasan.
Here.
Commissioner Lee. Commissioner Leong.
Here.
Commissioner Mariano.
Here.
Commissioner Giancarlo Ray.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Monique Ray.
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Sweet.
Here.
Commissioner Yoshida.
Here.
Thank you.
And with Megan, that is the whole alphabet. On to the next item, agenda review. Does anyone have any questions or redactions or anything they want to?
I was wondering if we could add an agenda item to like brainstorm stuff for like activities for like graduation or like the graduating commissioners. I was thinking of maybe doing like a little ceremony or some like little goodbyes. Maybe we could have a separate meeting for that ceremony, or just, I don't know, ideas around that. I'm open to anything. If we could add that to the agenda.
Commissioner Ray, sorry to step in, but since the agenda has been sent out already, this item would have to be considered for a future agenda.
Well, we can discuss things in the items from commission, can't we? Because it's nothing that we would be voting on.
Okay.
We can discuss it in items from the commission.
Yeah, I was even going to mention some stuff for the graduating thing. Yeah, so we can just do it towards the end, but that's something to talk about.
Okay, cool.
With that, the approval of minutes from the June 6th meeting. Does anyone have any questions? Want to not include something? Want to include something in the minutes? Because we all read the minutes. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
I, Commissioner Ray, motion to approve the minutes.
Is there a second?
I'll second the motion to approve the minutes.
With a first from Commissioner Ray and a second from Commissioner Yoshida, can we have roll call, please? Or do we need roll call? I ask this every meeting.
You don't need it, but if you want it, we can definitely do it.
If we don't need it, we'll go right along. Are there any members of the public who wish to comment on either items on the agenda or items not on the agenda? I don't think we have members of the public. Is that person might? Well, there are no hands raised, and I don't think there's anyone here. So next item is item 6, the presentation on the South San Francisco Aquatic Center. And I will give the floor to Philip.
Great. Good evening, all the commissioners. Hi, this is Philip Vitale, Deputy Director for Capital Projects. I'm excited this evening to have Clarence Mamayuk, who is our architect from ELS, here this evening to co-present with me. And we also have Greg Mediotti, who's the Director of Parks, on the line as well. And he may chime in with some comments or help answer questions as we move through this presentation. But we're excited this evening to present to you the sort of the development of the concept design for the new aquatic center at Orange Memorial Park. And so please feel free to ask questions as we move along. I'll be able to answer some of those, and Clarence and Greg will as well. And then we can also have a session of questions at the end. So I'm going to ask if Clarence can share his screen. So I think he has the presentation. And I'm going to do the first bit and then hand it over to Clarence, and we'll go from there. So maybe there we go. Perfect. Thank you, Clarence. So I don't know if everybody is familiar yet with the existing Orange Memorial, the pool at Orange Memorial Park, but today we're going to walk through the design to create a new facility. I'm going to give you a little bit of background to date. So if Clarence can flick to the next slide. Back in 2017, the city went through and did a feasibility study to look at the existing facility, our Orange Pool, which was just around 50 years old at that point, and to determine, does it make sense to renovate the existing pool? Does it make sense to add on to it? Or should we go ahead and create a whole new pool facility? And it was determined then that the best approach would be to build a whole new facility. And then last year, we went and explored some options of, rather than tearing down the facility and having the being without a pool for a couple years while we constructed a new one, we explored a few sites through Orange Memorial Park and determined that this corner of Tennis Drive and Orange Avenue would be the best location for a new facility. It allows you to keep the existing pool, which is there in those dashed black lines, and then build a new facility at the corner. That's great because we can keep the existing pool open and then build the new one and then demolish the old facility. But it does present some challenges to make sure we can fit this whole new facility at that corner and work around the existing pool. Next slide. And the scope of this project is to really build a 28,500 square foot facility, plus or minus a little bit of square footage. We want to have a total of 2 pools. It was determined it would be best to have sort of a cool water lap pool, and then also have a warm water teaching pool that could be for lessons and for recreation programs, and as well as some lap swimming as well. And the reason that we really want to do 2 pools is currently there's 1 pool in the facility, and that pool just doesn't seem to be warm enough for a large group of people, and it doesn't seem to be cool enough for a large group of people. So having two separate pools was really important. We wanted to make sure there's a multi-purpose room, still determining what the exact use of that space should be. That's why it's sort of multi-purpose. Have some swimmers lounges, as I mentioned, maintain operation of the existing facility while the new pool is constructed, and then make sure this is a planet-friendly design. So next slide. Our overall project budget that we're working with is 49 million. We originally started with 34 million, did some updating of the cost estimates, looking at where escalation has been lately and challenges with supply chain demand and just construction costs these days. We evaluated that with our design team and our construction managers and felt that 49 million will really be able to get us those elements that I just mentioned. And our project schedules, in the summer of last year, we started that sort of program planning, looking at the facility, bringing on the architects, and then up through spring of this year, we've been sort of truthing that. Then we began design, really, we dove into design earlier this spring, and we hope to wrap that up by the end of this year, go out to bid in early 2023, and then opening hopefully late 2024. Again, this would allow us to keep the existing pool open. And just to talk about how we've come up with the pool design, with that original scope, we have a page on the city website that's dedicated specifically to the new pool. We have an email list that if anyone is interested, they can email questions in there. They can email to sign up to keep updated as we produce information about the pool and have workshops. We've really advertised our workshops and the surveys through like the mayor's message, citywide newsletters, e-blast. Hopefully some of you folks have received some of those emails. We've done a number of online and printed surveys. We've done those in multiple languages. We've also really done these focus groups, which allow us to dive in with really specific user groups. We had a really good meeting with the swim team board, and we talked about what's needed for the swim team to really have the facility work for them for the long-term future. We met with seniors. We met with a group who really supports the use of a therapy pool or the creation of one. We've had a couple of workshops. We did the first one in the beginning of April. Then we went another one late April. And then we also did a workshop just a couple weeks ago at the end of June. And then we also did some tabling at the Old Town meeting. And we still are going to be gathering information as we move through to finalize the concept design. And if Clarence can step to the next slide, I'm gonna let Clarence dive in and talk to us about where we are now. And I just also want to do a plug too before we step away, is that, you know, this design is still really getting finalized, the concept. And what we really want to do is hear from groups like the Youth Focus Group, the Youth Commission this evening, and also still meet with some groups to make sure where the design is landing now really works for all those user groups. So I want to encourage folks to go online and do our latest survey. You can also do the previous surveys that were from the earlier workshops. And I really want to encourage folks, if you support this pool concept, to come and support us at we're going to present this concept design or a finalized version of it to Park and Rec Commission on August 16th. So it would be great if people support this project to get out there, let us know, and let commissioners know what you like about it and why you support it. And then our current plan is to go to City Council to approve the concept design on August 24th. And again, it would be great to have support at those meetings. So there's a plug there, and I'll plug it again at the end of this and try to answer some questions. And till then, I'm gonna let Clarence go through and walk us through where the design is and how we got there.
Great, thanks, Philip. And Mr. Chair, members of the commission, again, thank you for including us on your agenda. We really are excited about how this has progressed, and working with South City leadership, and again, just going to multiple community events. I've gotten a real good sense anyway of just sort of the need for something like this. And, you know, it's kind of time for, it's South City's turn to have a new facility like this. We, just a teeny bit about ELS, this is what we love to do. We've been doing these kinds of centers for cities up and down the West Coast for a better part of 3 decades. And every one of them is very different. And they're all very unique and tailored to their communities. And they all kind of grow out of the ideas and input from groups like yours. So we'll be looking for more information. And again, just to super plug what Philip said, I hope you can attend the upcoming Parks and Rec Commission's meeting and step up to the mic. And again, if you support it, let them know. I think it's real important. Okay. So the process, always begins with a pretty in-depth community outreach component. We have completed 3 workshops, and then we're continuing to reach out to other organizations and leadership in the area to continue to share the idea and to get the idea to even be richer. What I'm sharing right now is kind of the way it looked like for workshop number 1, which was really just a series of boards. Everything was held in the Fernicki's building in Orange Park, or Orange Memorial Park, I should say. And the first one was, again, just about issues. We were trying to bring forward all of those considerations that go into the design of a community aquatic center. And to date, we have 190 plus responses to our survey. We actually have 2 surveys. They're both online, as Philip mentioned, and you can go there and give us your input. We're going to be taking input all the way up through September, which is when we go back to council for our final session. But again, the input's been terrific, and the nature of questions have been pretty high level, but again, informative as well to our entire process. And one of the questions we had asked folks was, well, where do you swim today, and where do you like to swim, and kind of why? And we got a series of responses. So this is in addition to those folks who currently use the Orange Pool. We got folks who suggested we take a look at the City of Pacifica's Brink Pool. Again, this is a 25 meter by 25 yard pool, all indoors. The new pool at Westmore High, this was another popular venue. And then this one here, very different. This is all about fun water. They do have a competitive pool in here, but again, for the most part, it's really big fun water. And again, so lots of, you can see the differences between the two facilities. This one here is an indoor pool that caters to toddlers to pre-K. So it's a very specific user group and pool, but again, it runs at a pretty high temperature. It's probably 85 degrees or so. And again, kind of on the small side, but again, you have little kiddos swimming in here. And then something totally different, kind of a big outdoor pool. This is in San Ramon. Of course, it gets pretty toasty out there. But again, just to give you sort of the range of aquatics venues that folks had kind of mentioned to us. We took that information along with a bunch of other meetings and things that we had, and we came back to workshop 2 about a month later. And at this workshop, we presented 3 ideas, but the focus kind of laid heavily on 2. And at that meeting, everybody got to sort of sit around the 3 ideas, and then each team member got up and presented their group's findings or comments on the ideas that were presented. And one of the very first things we wanted to point out to the group was that this is the size of Orange Pool today. So it's 6 lanes by 25 yards and just a little over 3,000 square feet. So keep that number in mind. And you can see how that pool there, it's the one with the circle on it. We're comparing that to these other pools over here. And right now we have an idea, the preferred concept thus far is one that includes one of these, which is a 10 lane, 25 meter by 25 yard pool. And then one that also includes one of these or one of these. We're leaning towards this one here. This would be an indoor pool. And again, we like this idea, and the community has kind of liked the idea thus far because it still delivers 6 lanes, just like the existing pool up here. But in addition to that, it has what is called a 0 beach entry and a place where you could put some water toys and a bunch of other fun things for smaller kiddos. So these are the 2 ideas that were presented that day. And the thing to note here is in idea A, we have basically 2 pools indoors. So this started out as an all indoor pool project. And again, this is the existing pool. This is the same scale as these pools up here. So when you look at the water area here, it is 2.5 times more water area than the existing pool. So quite a bit more pool up here. We go to this one over here, we have 1 pool indoors, but then this pool here with the white kind of on the edges, the white decking, that is an outdoor pool. And if you add up the water surface area with these 2 pools, you get 4 times the water. And why that's a good thing is, again, there are a lot of folks who, again, go to those other pools that we were showing you. And if they had more water real estate, they could get more lap time in. So not only could you use it for that, there are a lot of folks who love fitness swimming, and there's master swimmers. There's also the youth swim teams. They can all use this pool and not take up the space that current users use in the indoor pool. So we felt like if we were giving this back and we're going to add some indoor fun water, and then on top of that, we're adding this bigger outdoor pool, that could be a pretty big bonus. Now here's the kicker. If you were to ask me the cost of this one here, A versus B, they're virtually the same price. So for the same price, again, that's our budget, you get 4 times the water versus 2.5 times the water. There's also, again, after we've been through COVID, and hopefully we've been through COVID, but you know what that taught us is that one of the few places that stayed open for recreation during that time were outdoor pools. And so we would have that in the future. There are a lot of folks who kind of just feel safer swimming outdoors now as opposed to indoors, but the indoor pool would be there too. So that's the kind of the two ideas. And after that, there was a heavy leaning towards option B, where we got more water. And so this is how you could program it. So if you had all that water, these are the kinds of activities that could go on in that area. Again, wellness and fitness. There's enough shallow water where you could do aerobics classes like this. You could bring in underwater bikes. You could do all kinds of fun things. So that's one set of programming elements. Another set of programming elements is stuff like this, where there might be some fun water elements in the shallow ends. We could look at doing a small version of a slide as well in the warm water pool. And then, of course, there are a lot of sort of real basic aquatic things that you would normally see. Probably one of the biggest ones would be the addition of a water polo course. So you get to actually run water polo games, something that South City doesn't have right now. So that would be kind of a new addition. So there's, again, just a range of things that could happen in those two different bodies of water. On top of that, as Philip mentioned, we're looking forward to working with the city on making this a planet-friendly project. So what that all means is that we're trying to keep our carbon footprint to a minimum. And all of our projects right now, ELS is signed on to the 2030 commitment. So by 2030, 100% of our projects will be carbon neutral. And right now, 80% of our projects are in that state. So it's something pretty important to us. I'm sure it is to you. We know to the city, they have a climate action plan. And so all of those kinds of issues are being addressed as well. So we move on to workshop number 3. And in workshop number 3, we took those 3 ideas that we had in 2 and we boiled them down to a single preferred concept. And this is the concept that, again, continues to be refined and worked on. So here's a shot of the site plan. And a few things to note here. This black outline here is the existing orange pool. And as Philip had mentioned, we want to keep that running and in operation while the new project is being built. So South City never goes without a pool. Again, Tennis Avenue runs along here, and this is Orange Avenue along here. The other thing we're trying to show with this diagram is that this corner of the park is pretty important, or this quadrant of the park, in that there's a lot of action going on there. You've got all of the activity from the Fernicke's building. There's youth soccer that's happening out in this area here. There's a big playground, and the city's looking to expand that to maybe include an all abilities playground. There is even the idea of an amphitheater, just to start to formalize outdoor concerts and the like. So there are a lot of exciting things that are in the master plan that are currently being considered. And what we wanted to show with this diagram is that the Aquatic Center is not going to take over the whole park, but in fact is going to work with all of those different ideas as time goes on. I enlarged this a little bit. Again, you walk into the lobby area from this side here, and you're greeted with a big reception counter. And then you can go into the men's locker room or to the women's locker room, and then out to the indoor pool deck. And once you're on the indoor pool deck, you can then proceed outdoors to the outdoor pool. So that's how you kind of circulate. This area here this is the connection to the multi-purpose room, the MPR. And that right now is being tested in a number of ways. It could be a fitness center. It could be a place for additional meetings. There's a range of activities that it could be used for. So that's kind of the development of the plan to date. Now I'll take you on a little tour. So this right here puts us in a helicopter, and we're hovering above the Fernicke's building, and you can see the big outdoor pool. And you can also see the big indoor pool. So that's the natatorium. And this is the multi-purpose room here. And again, we've referred to this plan as the Z plan because the building sort of Z's around the existing pool building. We'll go down to the park level, and we get out of the helicopter, and you can see the MPR in the foreground. The outdoor pool is behind a glass screen wall that shields the winds away, and also a berm that's around that. You can see into the pool area a little bit. We're going to make our way around to the front of the building, and you can start to see again the multi-purpose room, and we're going to make our way down this walkway to the front of the building. And so this is the front of the building, and then we're going to go indoors to the lobby, and we'll check in at the reception area. These folks are probably heading to a birthday party. These folks have just come off of the pool deck. We'll go into the pool deck area. So that's what the indoor pool looks like. And then if you were to head out to the outdoor pool, you just go through windows that are in this window wall over here. Go out. And so that's what the outdoor pool environment looks like. And again, this is protected from the winds we have a glass wall that surrounds the pool. We also have a berm, and we also have trees that would be planted atop that berm. So we have kind of 3 layers of protection. Here's another view. This kind of shows that connection from, again, outdoor pool to the indoor pool. And then we're back out at the corner of Orange Avenue and Tennis. And this is what the exterior is starting to look like. So that's kind of where we are. Again, thus far, we've completed 3 workshops. We have the Parks and Rec Commission coming up in, Philip, I forget the dates. Park and Rec is?
I believe it's the 16th.
Okay, and City Council is?
The 24th of August.
24th, okay. So the 16th and 24th. So August is a big month for the project. Assuming all goes well there, we finish the construction documents around the first quarter in 2023. We had been targeting 2022, but the project started a little later, but we're on our way. And construction starts in spring of 2023, and we hope to be swimming in the spring, summer of 2025. So there you have it. Happy to take any questions you might have.
Thank you for the presentation. That was really cool. I'm excited. Does anyone have any questions or comments for the presenters?
All right, if nobody asks a question, I've got to ask a question.
I see a hand raised though.
Oh,
there's a hand.
Everyone's been looking. Oh, Vice Chair Adriano.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for the presentation. I guess my question is more of like a logistical one. I was wondering if with outdoor pools, does that affect their ability to be open year round if they're outdoors?
Yeah, right. Well, it's a good question. And so no, not at all. In fact, it's generally there's sort of 2 types of water, and I was trying to kind of show that. So when we see fun water pools outdoors, those are with the slides and kind of lazy rivers and all that stuff. Those tend to shut down during the winter hours almost anywhere in the United States except for Southern California, Florida, and Arizona. They stay open during the wintertime, but they do close down during those other hours during the winter. For lap pools, though, in California in particular, in fact, Brisbane, which is not too far from you, or any other pools in the San Francisco Bay Area, they all stay open for fitness swimming at a minimum. And The USA Swimming League meets they actually have a winter league, and water polo comes into play as well. It's kind of a fall sport. So they stay open. And, one of the things, if you swim, and I don't swim every day, I wish I could, but generally once you're in the water, the water for the outdoor pool is going to be in that 79-degree temperature range, 79 to 80. So it's pretty warm, and it's comfortable once you get into the water. It is could be brisk when you get out though.
Mhm.
That's a really good. I was thinking about that, like, oh, it's gonna be cold in December in the outdoor pool.
Right.
I actually did have a question. Because you showed the like layout of the building, but would there be like the ability to have like a gender neutral or a family locker room?
Yeah, in fact, we have lots of them. I'll show you where those are on the plan just so you can get a sense.
And Ethan, those are some of the questions that came up from the community through this process about, hey, we want to make sure that we have some of these family changing rooms. It's something that's been a challenge with the existing facility, and you can see how Clarence will show you where those are starting to fit into the project.
So for this project right now, and actually this plan has even been updated since then, but see this area here with FAM? So we refer to those as family changing rooms or gender neutral rooms.
Oh.
So here's one here, there's one here, and we also have another one out here. So at this stage in the game, we had 3, but we're now up to 4 in the project. And then in addition to that, there are the standard men and women's locker rooms. So, it's, I think that's something we're seeing a lot in our work now. We want to make sure that it's a safe space for everyone. And those are pretty commonplace now in public designs.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm glad they're already included. Are there any other questions? Or well, Clarence, you said you wanted to ask a question.
Oh, I'm curious. This is a big group. Are there swimmers, fitness swimmers? Anybody interested in swimming? Does anybody use Orange Pool today? Oh my goodness.
Or in the past? Did anyone learn how to swim at Orange Pool?
Did they take lessons in Orange Pool? Yeah. Wow. Okay. Interesting. Oh, I see 3. Okay. All right. That's the other thing. Swimming is, at least these centers that we've been fortunate enough to work on with great communities like yours, is that swimming is so multi-dimensional now. I mean, it's really an activity as opposed to a sport. And there are so many different things that you can do if you have access to a pool. And the range of programming that can happen is, I mean, it's almost infinite. I mean, there's just a lot of crazy different things you can do with pools. And again, it's just that nice, healthy thing to be a part of, a way to get some fitness. So.
And Clarence, I think that's something we've seen through survey responses and through our community meetings, is that we have users of all ages, from families taking their little kids to learn how to swim, to seniors who are doing this. We've had some people in our senior focus groups who are, approaching 80, and they go and they use those pools every day. So it's not just for the competitive lap swimmer, it's for all those ages. So imagine someone learning how to swim and swimming at this pool for the next 50 years. We really want to make sure it can serve everybody through all their lifespans.
Yeah, my grandma used to go like once a week, like a few years ago. She's 87 now, I think, so she must have been like 80, but she would go pretty consistently. I see Commissioner Cyrus's hand up.
Yeah, I know we already touched on it a bit, but I was just wondering if you could repeat it again. I guess, how would the construction in the future affect the current resources the pool's used for? Like, what dates would the construction and all that be planned or aimed for? And would that make anything like swimming or teaching people how to swim move? And then what future resources are more likely to appear for people.
Right. Okay, let me take the first part of your question, which I think I can answer with this diagram here. So one of our key responsibilities, it was the city made this very clear to us, is that the existing orange pool, so that's what is shown here in the dashed black line, that pool has to remain in operation until the new pool is opened up. So what we've done is, what that means is that you got to kind of design around that pool. We have to basically, or the pool building, orange pool building, we have to avoid it. And we have to stay a safe distance away so everything in this building can remain in operation while construction goes on. And as long as we're doing that, it takes the time constraint off of the table. Now, that doesn't mean we want to take forever to build this. And we're hoping to have this open in the spring or summer of 2025. So when we finish all of our documents, which will be around February or so, it takes about 18 months or so to build this. And so from that time, again, Orange Pool stays open and is in operation. And then once the door is open, that's when the Orange Pool building gets demolished. And everything that you see kind of on the drawing or something like that will replace it. So additional parking, some of the playground, more park area, all of those kinds of things. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you for your explanation.
Okay.
Since you just mentioned it, and it's like something I care about, do we need that extra parking lot? And I'm sure this came up in the meetings with members of the public, but is it necessary when it could just be park space?
Oh, Ethan, that is music to my heart. And you and I are probably on the same page. What we have to do though is there are a lot of huge demands on the park. And so we want to be pretty thoughtful about where we add parking or where we maintain parking. One of the things that you're not seeing on this drawing is by demolishing the parking lot that was once here, we lose a number of spaces. And so we would like to at least get back to that level. And we haven't shown that yet. And again, it's a lot of work, but I am with you. I think all good urbanists should be thinking about how to eliminate the use of cars. And it's a pretty important thing. On the other hand, we all have to be realists too, because there will be a certain number of folks who need to come to the park, in a car, hopefully an electric car. But that's the way the world is. But I hear you, and I'm your advocate. Again, it's balancing all kinds of things.
Yeah, I will note, you see in this image here, you see in each of those parking spots next to the pool, there's that little white square. And so what we are hoping to have here are a lot of accessible parking spots for folks with disabilities. And it may not just be for the pool. We're also hoping to create an all-inclusive playground where the existing playground is now. So we kind of put some language in our bond sale to allow us to also fund a new playground. So we would want to have ample accessible parking for that use as well.
The other thing we're looking at here too, Ethan, is this sort of space here that's defined by this big line. We see that as an important kind of stacking and drop-off zone. So again, this is kind of the minimal parking version or the minimal asphalt version. And then there's another version, which again, I think we have to recycle through to see just how many more parking spaces can we get there. Because again, we've just taken out a bunch of parking that used to be right here. So we have to look at how we can kind of balance all of that. It's not an easy thing. It's a little tricky.
And it's also balancing the number of parking stalls that were for the existing facility that was 6 lanes of pools or swimming. And now we're having, how much more capacity here. So
4 times the water.
But these are all questions that Yeah, that we're hearing from the community at our workshops and through our surveys. So I think those kind of comments and questions are really important. And while we're capturing them now, please do go complete the survey for either any of the three that are up on the website and share those thoughts.
Also share, it's part of our master plan for this park. There's that road right in front of the Fernicke's building, and a concept being envisioned at this point in time is closing that and having more of a pedestrian experience there. So no more cars going down next to the playground, but be more of like a a space for farmers markets or other sort of fairs or picnic facilities or those sorts of things. So creating more of a so there'll be a lot of parking lots there as well, I suppose.
Well, thank you for the explanation. I did have to ask, but I didn't know about the closing of that road, so that's really cool. I see Commissioner Hua's hand up.
Yeah, and also thank you again for the presentation. You kind of alluded to it in your presentation. I was kind of curious as to how the building would meet the sustainability codes and kind of the steps forward in terms of like making it a green building and kind of how the development will work given South City's ongoing like sustainability goals.
Right. Well, that is very high on our list. And again, I mentioned that our firm has signed on to the 2030 commitment, which kind of that's our message saying that we're ready to do anything we can to make this happen. And of course, it's always done in the context of the project budget. But here in South City, the South City leadership has encouraged us to study it. They want to explore what can be done. And just to give you a sense of that, we are looking at doing what is called an all-electric building and aquatic center. And right now in California, actually in the United States, there are two all-electric aquatic centers that I know of that are under construction, and we've designed both of them. One is for the city of Mountain View, and the other is for the city of Piedmont. And we're looking at doing another one for the city of Oxnard. And it's relatively new. Back in the day, electrifying a building is easy. There are plenty of all-electric buildings out there. But to electrify the function that heats the pools, that is a trick. And it's a trick because there's just, you've got enormous gallons of water here. These amounts are really big. And it takes a lot of power to warm those up. And so back in the day, it has always, in fact today, it's always been about gas. And gas has been used as the fuel source to heat the pools. And as you all know, I'm sure that gas is one of the biggest carbon polluters there is. So if we can get rid of the gas and use electricity instead, that's a big plus. The next thing we, of course, want to explore is how much of that electricity can we generate on site? And so we're going to be studying that exact issue. We're going to be looking at how many PVs and photovoltaics that we can get on our roofs and how much power that will generate so that we can keep the electricity bill low and use the sun's energy as much as possible. My guess is that we won't be able to produce all the electricity we'll need, but there's a wonderful organization out there called the Peninsula Clean Energy Group. And the project would end up buying the balance of their energy that's needed to run the center. So we hope that's how it all ends up. Again, it's a matter of going through and testing these different technical ideas and seeing how those all fit into the overall budget. Because again, it's almost like the parking thing. We'd love to have no parking and just all park, but it's a balancing act. And we're going to be balancing, again, this clean energy idea versus the number of pennies that we have to spend on the project and trying to satisfy all these needs. So it's a little complicated, but again, other cities, we're seeing them do that. And I think that's what's encouraged South City to at least explore it, and we're looking forward to doing that.
I want to emphasize that too, that Clarence, while you mentioned, city leadership is, wishing or hoping that we explore that. It's also come about through the community, through our community workshops and through our surveys. It's really been a high priority to have this be a green building. So we're excited, and we'll be working with Clarence and his team of engineers to help study, how can we make that efficient, and how do we balance the cost up front versus a long-term operational cost. Great.
Well, are there any other questions, comments, stories of Orange Pool? I don't see any hands up.
Ethan, I'd like to make one last plug though. Again, the survey's online, and if we could make sure, folks, if you're supportive of this pool project, please come to the Park and Rec Commission. Or if you can't come, send in an email or a public comment that could be read in support of this. That would be really great, both at the Park and Rec Commission on August 16th, as well as the City Council meeting on the 24th. And all these presentation materials from workshop 1 through 3, along with all those surveys, are all available on the city website, which is ssf.net/new pool. So if you want to dive deeper into these plans and you want to see where those family changing rooms are and count how many locker rooms we have and showers and stalls, you can look at that. And also keep checking back there, because as this concept plan evolves, we're going to keep posting those updated plans there. And also any engagement or information as we start to understand what the cost and the related to making this an all green building, we'll be sharing that information on that website. So please keep checking there and go share your thoughts. And if you haven't already, sign up at the pool project at ssf.net to stay informed.
Yeah, and I'll make sure that every commissioner gets sent the survey. I can't guarantee they will all fill it out, but it will be in their inbox.
Well, I think I might have said that one a lot tonight, but hopefully you all can get on there and take that survey, or at least come and share your support at the upcoming meetings. So thank you.
Okay. Well, thanks for all your great questions, and again for the agenda time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. I'm very excited for the pool. So
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for your time and everything you've done.
Okay.
Great.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a nice evening.
Bye.
All right. Gosh, if only I liked water. Maybe I'll swim more. Well, I do like water. I don't know. Swimming, you have to do it in front of people. All right. What is the next agenda item? Agenda item 7, Youth Commission bylaw update.
So I have the draft. Ethan, do you want me to share it?
Sure, yeah. So we never approved this, right?
Correct. So
Actually, I didn't even ask you before the meeting. Talk about the bylaws, and then you put it on the agenda.
That's okay. So essentially, back when you guys had drafted it, it looked good. We sent it to Rosa. Rosa had some edits. I think we went in and made the edits, and then she sent it back one more time with an additional edits, and that is the draft that you're viewing here. So it has your purpose that was unchanged, as well as your mission, which was also unchanged. Article 2 was unchanged as well. As you move into Article 3, there is a portion that was changed here to add the term authority, and then talk about special meetings that may be called time to time in compliance with the Brown Act and with the agenda, and the 24-hour notice must be given. So basically what we did here for this meeting. And then to delete this verbiage here in quorum part A. And then part E, the agenda and minutes, It says that the public are encouraged to submit requests for items to be considered by the commission and added to the agenda. So just being more specific about that, saying that the staff liaison and the chairperson should meet at least once a week, at least a week prior to the commission meeting to review the agenda, which we have been in compliance. So, and then adding regularly scheduled here, 24 hours before your special meeting, and then drafts will be included. So pretty standard stuff so far. And then this is where the larger changes are made. Rosa would like these parts, this whole section to match the 2022 Board Commission and Committee Handbook, just so that everything's standardized. And I also have that pulled up over here to review, but essentially it's just a standard. And then this is the part that's kind of new, is that if you decide to resign, the commissioner who wishes to resign shall inform the city clerk and the staff liaison in writing. I don't remember how it was written before, but this was something that we wanted to pull your attention to. Don't know why this part is highlighted, but name the person's and the executive officer. And then review the agenda for each commission with the staff and the vice chairperson, schedule cancel meetings and review agenda. So that I think those are all also part of the, it should match the verbiage of the 2022 handbook. And then same here, this all needs to match the 2022 handbook. And then this is also another edit. Only the city council may remove a member that has been appointed by the city council. And let me know if you want me to go slower. And then same thing here, the standing issues based on subcommittees, it must follow and be standardized to the 2022 handbook. And then this whole article made unchanged. And then the same thing here, it still needs to match. But essentially, if you review the handbook, and I'm happy to send the handbook out, I don't think that it's anything that you wouldn't all agree with. And this handbook is really, again, a standard and issue standard rules, regulations that every commission must follow. And this is the last one, your amendments to your bylaw. Questions, comments, concerns?
Do we need to have the finalized draft with all the changes before we can approve it? I'm assuming yes.
Yes. So I guess today what I'm doing is I'm seeking permission to make the edits as provided by Rosa, and then to give you the finalized bylaws for you to vote on at the next meeting.
So is this just like a draft, or do we like create suggestions now to be added to the final draft?
You can create suggestions now to be edited. I can also send it to you via email, and you can give me a suggestion, like we can do like a shared, I don't know. Well, we can't use Google because the city doesn't use Google. We have to use Microsoft. I'm not sure if you guys all have Microsoft accounts. But again, these are, you guys had already did all your edits. This is like version 2 with the city clerk's edits. So I'll leave it up to you guys to decide.
I don't know about everyone else, but I'm very comfortable with letting you make those edits and then us voting on it at the next meeting. But if anyone has anything they would like added specifically, I think just reach out to Tamiko and say what that is, and we'll get it in there. And then if you could send it to, like, I guess this draft to everyone so we can all read it if people want to, and then if they want to send out edits.
Will do.
Yeah, does anyone have any questions or comments or anything? I see no hands. Okay, well, thank you. Agenda item, what is that? That is an 8. Roman numeral 8, updates on the youth town hall.
So we have, with the help of your chair, we have helped to hone in on a date. So we're looking at the end of August, all the way through the beginning of September, but tentatively right now we're trying to book the facilities for September 2nd. with the food still being boba, and then wondering how we feel about having light refreshments and if you have suggestions for those refreshments. Originally, we had written down, I think, pizza and salad, and then there was also talk about having like donuts and baked goods, but given how close of a timeline we're running against, it was suggested to do light refreshments and the boba. And then for the time, we had proposed 3:30 to 5. That leaves us with an hour and a half of time. How do folks feel about that?
I think there should be probably a separate time for those refreshments, because I don't think we could eat in the auditorium, but like we can eat outside. Whether we want to eat before or after is a more interesting debate, I think. But
Okay. Are you thinking like, arrive at 3 o'clock to enjoy your refreshments before proceeding inside the auditorium? Or
I think, yeah, I think probably before is better. Because like after you want to leave. Oh, Jen, I think the South City Auditorium, South City High School Auditorium, and did we say on a Friday?
yes, it was requested to be on a Friday. And it was like requested to be in like the evening-ish times. So we're looking at September 2nd, Friday, to give us the most time possible to give ample planning, and then 3:30 to 5. Although now understanding that there's not food allowed in the auditorium, maybe like arrive at 3, enjoy refreshments.
Well, since school ends at like 3:20, it would probably have to start at like 4.
Okay.
It was 3:15. I think it's 3:20 now.
Okay.
At least what Camino is.
Okay, yeah, we could make the time adjustment, so like 4 o'clock to 5:30.
Or 4 to 6, I guess, if we want a half an hour for food.
Okay. So let me go back and edit that doc. And then the next steps after this would be for the staff to meet with the chair, vice chair, to discuss. We have a document with all the steps that need to be taken in terms of how do we do outreach. We need to make a list of teachers in which we would potentially reach out to. There was discussion in this group about reaching out to the teachers and or counselors to see if extra credit can be given to students who attend this. So we'll be working with your chair and vice chair to handle that checklist and make those next steps.
Okay. And then we need to finalize the actual attendance of the important.
Mm-hmm.
That should probably happen before anything else, I guess. Well, I guess I don't know if that should even happen before booking the thing, or book the thing and then make sure people can come. But
yeah,
I guess probably booking the location is a bit more important. But
yeah. So those are the updates there. Are there any questions about that?
Jasmine asked, and I guess we can still talk about this later on, but if it would be better to hand out food after, in case people just come for food and then leave. I think that is a good point, actually. And since we're doing it around dinner time, maybe we would want to do the food later and stuff. I don't know. We can talk about that later.
Okay. But I mean, that's a good point to make. We will write it down for discussion.
Yeah.
I guess one of my concerns is that I feel like we need to just like decide the list of people that we want to invite like as soon as possible, because I feel like with elected officials, or like if we're like reaching out to people on the state level at least, that they'd like months in advance, because like we don't know if they're going to be here in Sacramento.
Mm-hmm.
We have a list of people already. I think we talked about this the last time. It was going to be the mayor, city, or at least people we want to invite. Whether they can come is another question, but the mayor, the city manager, the president, so John Baker, president of the school board, Dr. Moore, the police chief, and then one of our county supervisors and one of our state legislators.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we can make like your list of like your first choice, your first pick, and then your second pick, and then your third pick in the event that your first choice is not available.
Yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions regarding this, or comments or ideas? Okay, seeing none, and if you have any, just reach out. The agenda item 9 is the report to the City Council on the Youth Commission activities for the fiscal year of 2021 to 2022. I don't know if Tamiko or Mary Jo wanted to start, or I could like give a preface to this.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, Ethan, and I'll pull up the doc that Mary Jo and I started.
It was so in the ordinance that established this commission, one of the things in said ordinance was that the commission must give a presentation to the city council once every fiscal year on what we have done. And the fiscal year, I believe, just ended. And so we have to, yes, okay. So the commission will report to the city council on the activities, goals, and accomplishments of the commission at least once each fiscal year, beginning the fiscal year 2021 to 2022, which just ended. So we have to give a presentation. And in the bylaws that we just looked at that we will hopefully approve at the next meeting, it says the vice chairperson is to prepare and present said presentation. But so that would be Aaron, but Aaron would obviously have support and help in that regard. And we can talk about that later, whatever.
Does it only have to be me? I feel like it would be, I'm
I
sure
could
it's not a very long spiel, right?
If someone wants to do it with you, it would just be a PowerPoint. We can, like, if you don't want to do it, we can talk about it later.
Is there like a space? I mean, like, this isn't too far ahead, but like, is every commission like going all at once, or are they kind of scattering
This is
it?
just us.
Oh, I thought you said every commission has to do a report.
Yeah, I don't know, actually. Like, I believe it's just us, but I could be wrong.
No, you're right. It's just you guys.
Oh, okay.
Here, I did confirm with Sharon on this. Really, amazing, brilliant Sharon. She did confirm you are the only commission who actually formally has a presentation and update to council.
Wow.
Recommendation that you go at the next August council meeting. I can't remember if it was the first August meeting or the second August meeting in council. I will update. And that it was be the chair, and then in the bylaws it says vice chair, but chair and vice chair and anyone else who would like to present. But it was recommended that the chair does it as well.
That's fine. Okay. So yeah, we will so what are the next steps with this?
Yes.
We should maybe have, because our next meeting is going to be on what's the first month? I have to open my calendar.
I think it's
the 1st of August. Okay. What's the first Monday? August 1st is a Monday. So that would be our next meeting date.
So what my recommendation is that Mary Jo and I had already went through, and this was also recommended by Sharon, to go through your agendas since you began as a commission, November, and pull out all of the topics and or novel accomplishments or topics that were explored and list those out and have that condensed and then be ready to present to council. And so Mary Jo and I did that for you guys, and I can share the screen here. You guys can adopt it or not, completely up to you. We figured that we just give a quick sneak peek on what you guys did over the course of the year. So I don't know, Ethan, do you want to go through it, or I can go through it? Up to you.
Yeah, I can look at it. Sorry, I have to like make it bigger. We had our Brown Act training. December we did not meet. I didn't remember that. I thought we did. I guess we didn't. January we talked about impact fees and housing. We had the Cultures United presentation, and then we went over the Youth Poet Laureate. Oh yeah, that's a very good question, Monique. This should be sent out probably. February, we talked about the 101 managed lanes. We had a Q&A with Nell. We talked about the rubric for the Poet Laureate. March, we had more commissioner onboarding from Sharon. We talked about the youth summer internship. We had that resume building thing. Oh yeah, everyone liked that. I remember that. April, we had the child care master plan. We had the PCE presentation. We had Chris talk to us about the bike thing. Then we had an update on the youth poet thing. Oh gosh, we had Marty come to every one of our meetings, didn't we? May, Centennial Way Master Plan, Orange Park Master Plan. Again, Marty with the Poet Laureate. June, we had or I guess that was was that the last one? Yeah, because we picked the Poet Laureate. Then last month we had the Education Foundation with Kayla et al. And then we are meeting right now.
Yes, I can send you all the documents. I could send it to you all via email,
Okay.
but I would encourage you to review it. Let me know if something is missing. And then I don't know if Chair, Vice Chair, if you'd like to bring it to the commission in our next meeting in August to approve the presentation.
We should probably like have a draft out before then. And then because the city, do we know what city council meeting we want this presented at? Like if we have it all done by August 1st.
Sharon had given us a date. She recommended an August date. I can't remember, it's the 1st or 2nd. Mary Jo, do you remember if it was the 1st or 2nd?
The city council meeting in August will be.
I do not, but I believe the city council dates for August are the 10th and the 24th.
Yeah, the 10th and 24th.
Wait, I have a question. So if me, Cheska, and Russell are graduating on August 1st, does that mean that we don't get to go to, or like we don't get to present if it's after? Or like, I read Rose's email, but I wasn't sure when we actually like graduate, so to speak.
I didn't get that email, though I'm aware of its existence, but my understanding was though your terms expire the 27th of July, so the city count, your term, you're only like not booted out, but like you are no longer on the commission once the city council fills that position. And if they were going to fill that position, it's probably going to be either that meeting on the 10th or the 24th, depending on how many applicants there are. So like,
oh, okay. No, because that's what I was wondering. That's what I thought, was that it was like, okay, because in the email it says that they'll be accepting applications through August 5th. And so that's why I wasn't sure, because I knew that most commissions do like the wait for a replacement thing. So that's why I wasn't sure. That's because the email didn't have anything, but it made it sound like starting today they would start recruiting, and then August 5th would be the deadline. So my impression would be that once that process is over, that's when we leave.
Yeah, so if it's August 5th, they normally do a special meeting, I think. Yeah, it's just a special meeting. And so it might happen before the 10th, but it'll probably be after, because like those are hard to schedule. So like there's a chance that like you could come to the meeting in September as a commissioner still, but that's if they don't do it. But you'll definitely still be on the commission on August 1st. It's really up to the city council before then. And once we get that date, we could do a special meeting with just the with everyone, but like dedicated to the graduating people. And we could talk about that at the end, but that was a long-winded answer. I don't know if I answered you, Monique.
No, that makes sense. I just wasn't sure if we would do the wait till the position was filled. That's why I was just wondering, because like we didn't get a deadline in the email.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So next meeting, we'll have a draft of that and hopefully approve it. And yeah, if you would like to present with Aaron and I, please.
I'm down.
Melissa asks, are we recruiting for new commission members? Then wait, ha ha ha. We are technically not. It's the city clerk's office, but please feel free to tell your friends and to plug it. And I'm sure we will have social media posts about this because let me look at the agenda here. Okay. We'll talk about that in the items from commission. Or I guess items from staff. Is there anything else regarding that presentation that anyone wants to talk about? I don't think so. Okay, moving on. Does staff have any items specifically?
Yes. Oh, wait, this is item from staff, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Unless you want to go after items from commission, I know.
Up to you. Okay, I'll just go. So items from staff, I do want to thank Vice Chair for bringing it to our attention of the possibility of exploring doing text message reminders for meetings as opposed to doing emails. We have been playing around and trying to figure out what software is the most appropriate. After some recommendations were made, we reached out to our IT department. And IT basically said that they already have a software that can basically do this for us. The only information that we need from all of you is your updated phone number, your carrier, your name, and your email address associated. And then I sent that out as a poll in our email with the agenda meeting for tonight's meeting. Please do fill it out. I only have responses from about a fourth of you, so I can get some more responses by the end of today. That would be wonderful, so I can go back to IT and give them that update. And then once your new commissioners have been appointed, then we will begin the text messaging series. This is optional. If you are not interested in receiving text messages, you can indicate so on the form. Otherwise, we hope that all of you will be able to fill out that survey sooner rather than later. So that's item number 1. Item number 2 is we do want to invite you all to movie night in the park and field day. That's July 15th at 5:30, and this is in recognition of National Parks and Recreation Month. The city is holding a field day at Orange Memorial Park, which has free exercise classes on the basketball court, kids games, soccer fields. I think there's supposed to be hot dogs there too. And the movie that's going to be played is Space Jam. So that's item number 2. And then the third thing is this junior achievement organization. Our intern in the city manager's office, Tyrone, had done some research on it. So I'm going to send you, that's the name of it. And let me also send you the link here. And I think that a lot of what is discussed through this organization is very much resonates with the commission's mission and drive. It's also really amazing because they also do a lot of, you can volunteer for them. There's also resources for students and parents, and it's economic empowerment through education. It's a pretty cool foundation. I'm just putting this out there as a resource. And then it was also suggested if the commission is interested that we can connect with this organization and be present at the next youth commission meeting. And that is all I have.
I remember they used to do stuff with the elementary schools. I forget what it was. I'm gonna have to ask my mom. But it's I know that logo because they used to I think give us crap as elementary school students, at least in the South City district. I don't know. Yeah, we'll look into that. And on the texting thing, I had to write it down because I wanted to jump in. Please, you don't have to. I don't. Okay, Nika has proved I'm not crazy. Basically, I don't check my email that often. This past week, I was not looking at my email, and I know some of you have trouble looking at your email, which valid. But please sign up for the text. I'm heavily encouraging you to sign up for the texting thing because I know it's very easy to forget when these meetings are. I was texting 2 commissioners today, and both of whom did not know there was a meeting today, which is fine. I won't name them specifically, but texting, you all check your text. So get the text. It's not spam. It'll just be saying there is a meeting on this date. Here's the agenda.
Another thing I will add is that I guess if you're apprehensive of sharing your phone number, because I know that a lot of places, if you enter your phone number, you get a ton of texts from I don't know, bots, and because they share your phone number. I think I would hope that the city won't be sharing your phone number when you enter your phone number into the Google document. Thank you, Tamiko. Yeah, so if you're scared of getting weird messages from bots, there you go. That's been dispelled. So yeah, fill out the form and yeah, get those text message reminders.
Yeah, you're not going to get spam.
And who knows, it might be so successful, you guys just started a pilot for the other commissioners to follow. Who knows?
Yeah, like we'll be ahead of the curve. Okay, and so those are all the items from staff. Does anyone have any questions regarding those items from staff? I don't see any. Okay. Items from the commission. I have like a list of things. On Wednesday, the city council is going to be discussing a ballot measure on whether or not to go through Article 34 of the state constitution to build low income housing. So if that is any interest to you, you should watch that meeting and give comment if you so wish. If you have any questions what that is, text me because I think it's important, and I just was not paying attention to the city council agendas lately because I've like not been watching those meetings because I've been busy. And so I wanted to actually discuss it at this meeting, but like we couldn't for legal reasons, but that's okay. I think it would be cool if this commission supported the pool project, not necessarily in making you all go talk at the Parks and Rec meeting, but like if we approved it like as a body, we can do that at our next meeting since the Parks and Rec meeting is on the 16th and the city council is on the 24th. If you're all interested in that, that can be placed on the agenda. And that's all I had to say. Yeah. Does anyone have anything? Oh, no, that's not all I had to say. I didn't write this down. Oh, no, this is a separate list. I was reading the wrong list, but it's fine. So there are 3 commissioners who still need to send in their finance forms. And since the fiscal year just ended, if you don't do it soon, you will not be paid. If you don't know who you are, I'm going to email and text you 3 about it. And if you don't do it soon, you won't be paid because they like can't do it retroactively. But that's a lot of money. Like that's like $600, $700 since we've been meeting every month, and it's $100 a meeting. And so there will. So since a number of commissioners' terms are expiring in this month, that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 commissioners, 4 of whom cannot reapply due to their age. That means there's going to be 13. That's not true. Whatever. So 5 people whose terms are expiring can seek new terms. And I know at least 1 or 2 are going away to college, so they can't reapply because they're going to be gone. So we're going to have like at least 2 open seats on the commission. So we need to fill those. And I don't know if people are going to be checking the city's email blast for the recruitment. So like talk to your friends if they're interested, if you know anyone. I would like to go promote it because I know the El Camino leadership class is having their summer training, and I know Danielle and I want to go like plug the commission, and I'm going to try to come in contact with the South City leadership class. But like talk to your friends, please get good people who want to get involved. So now let's discuss the people whose terms are expiring and who can't come back, because I know Monique has talked to me about it like offline, but like I think it would be really cool. It was Monique's idea if we invited former council member and mayor Carol Matsumoto, since she kind of like, most of you should remember her because she like she created the Youth Advisory Council, which obviously eventually became this. And I think it would be cool if we like honored her and stuff and like thanked her, and if we can celebrate all of our commissioners who are going to be leaving. But does anyone have any ideas for that? Like we could do like an in-person thing. I don't know if we could do an in-person meeting officially, because I know the city council is still talking about if we want to go back in person, but like Monique, do you have thoughts? Since I know you.
Yeah, I was gonna suggest, I mean, if we could do an in-person thing, that'd be great. If not, then that's okay. But I feel like we could at least ask, but then I guess it'd have to be because the Brown Act. I don't know how we would kind of go about that. But I was thinking that maybe the people that were here, even if your term isn't expiring, if you were here from like the very beginning, when we were still a pilot program or in the first 1-2 years, it would be great to like say a few words and kind of prepare that ahead of time. Doesn't have to be super long, but just kind of like your thoughts, or maybe your favorite project or something you worked on, and then just kind of sharing that. And it'd be nice to invite Carol and then maybe Heather and then some other people that were involved in the process when it was co-founded.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean just Aaron is leaving. I was trying to like do a shift enter to like make like a vertical list. Sorry, Ingrid, I will answer that question. I think those are really good ideas, Monique. And I don't know, I would like if we could get each commissioner honored. Like, I don't know if we could ask the city council to get them like a little like nice not resolution.
Or like a form that says like you've
Yeah, like
you were in
something.
the commission. Yeah, that'd be
That's a really
cool.
good idea.
Yeah, also I had a question. This is kind of random. Is Russell 22 or 23? Does anyone know? Is he here?
Russell is not here. He has not attended the past few meetings. I don't know, but I believe he's definitely over the age limit to reapply.
I think so, because that's what I was going to say is like I thought he was 23 and we capped it at 22, but then I didn't know if like Rosa interpreted that as like you turn 22 and let's say you're a junior at like in college and then you can't continue. My original intention with the youth commission was that like you could do it theoretically high school and college. So that's why I wasn't sure how they interpreted that.
I think yeah, for Russell, I think he definitely is like out of the age to reapply again because I think in the email that Rose, because I also got that email, Monique. I think because I'm turning 22 this year, but Rosa said that I could theoretically reapply to the commission because I don't turn 22 until after until the like latter end of this year, and that's like after the beginning of the fiscal year. So I think I think she did it by age more so.
Okay, see, because that's what concerns me for future commissioners, because theoretically, like, I graduated college and now I'm like moving away, so I will graduate from the youth commission. But like for other youth commissioners, like my birthday's in June, so I turned 22 after I graduated college, but a lot of people I know turn 22 while they're still in their senior year. So I don't think it would be fair to future commissioners for them to be booted out.
Oh, I think okay, so in that case, I think
Because
no,
like it needs to be like maybe we should have something in our bylaws that's like till you're 22 or graduate, or I don't know. Like it's because I feel like for future commissioners, it would be weird if they're like, if they're kicked off. I made it 22 with the intention that like people could do
This
high school, college.
This was discussed exactly a year ago this week or next week, because I remember it was close to my mom's birthday. Oh my god, my mom's birthday is soon.
Oh my god, happy birthday to her.
Oh gosh, because I remember that we talked about this at the city council meeting where the city council approved the thing, and that was like July 15th of last year or something. And I know I brought it up, and I brought it up with Mayor Adiego at the time about how we wanted it to be 23 just in case someone takes a gap year or they're like older or something. But since the city council in the ordinance that they approved made it 22, there's nothing we as a body could do. Though I think the city clerk is being very favorable in the sense that, like, if say someone who is turning 22 this year, but not before July 20, but not before their term ends, they could theoretically have another year on the commission if they reapplied. So like the city clerk could say no to that because that's like up to her discretion, I think, but there's no way we as a body can change that. We can ask the city council to make it 23 years old, but that's up to their discretion if they want to amend the ordinance. Because this was like a whole discussion.
Yeah.
But it was a long time ago.
That makes sense. Yeah, I feel like clarifying that for future reference would be better for future commissioners, just so that they don't have to deal with it to make like a permanent stipulation about age.
We can ask the city clerk, because we're the only commission that has the age requirement thing, and that does make it complicated. So we can ask for like clarifying language on that, to make it clearer, and that can be posted on the application thing. So it's probably best that we can ask her that soon before she posts the posting. To
also have or I don't know if I can suggest this later, but I also wanted to ask about like our ability to use social media, like if there's been any updates on that.
It's in the ordinance that we can use our social media. Oh, are you talking about the guidelines?
No, I was just talking about like because I haven't checked our Instagram lately, so I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, like we haven't really been posting, but like I just don't know if we can to start like sharing about like recruitment and stuff.
I think once the city clerk posts the dates on and the link to recruitment, I think we can start posting that. And she should do that by the end of the month. But that would be fine. I don't actually know who has access to the Instagram, and that's something that we should figure out. I believe I'm the only one. Maybe Aaron has it too with the Twitter.
Yeah, I don't have the Twitter. I used to have the Instagram because I created it, but I don't know who has access to it now, honestly.
Oh, Jen also has the Twitter. Zakai, I actually don't know about that because I never posted anything that would need approval. I'm always just like, our meeting is on this date. Here's the agenda. Like it's nothing like it that would ask, but probably I actually, that might be a Tamiko Mary Jo question, because I know the city clerk came out like and gave us guidelines.
Okay, yeah, because I think when I might be wrong, but I think when we first started making posts, I'm not sure if we were an official commission at that point, so we didn't have to, take Brown Act into consideration, but I'm just not so fond of the rules there, so someone here might know.
I actually don't know. This was like,
Hi, do you want to set up a meeting with us and then the city clerk so maybe we can get clarification? Because I feel like for us, we could start as a youth commission posting the minutes, obviously not in a typed Google Doc, but just in like we hit this, this, and this, just so that like future commissioners that want to join have like some sort of record.
That you wouldn't need approval for, because that's nothing like, that's just you're posting the commission's business. I don't think you would need approval for that.
Okay.
And also it wouldn't even be the city clerk. I guess it would be Leslie Arroyo.
Correct. It would be Leslie as she's a communication director. But if you're taking something that's already public and then basically your meeting minutes get published after your meeting, after it's been approved. So technically, I mean, you're just reposting something that's already readily available on the website. So I don't believe that would be an issue.
Okay, cool. And then as for our bios on our website, I think we need to update it. And I think like what we do on the Youth Commission for the San Mateo County is like we have each year of officers. And so maybe we could do something like that. Like you have like, here's our first year and then second year, and then you guys just send in your bios. Because I was looking at everyone's bios and most of them are like pretty outdated.
That is a good point.
Okay, yes. So if we want to standardize your bios, we can do that. And if you can send the edits to me, we can make the edits directly to the site.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay, and then who was that? Ingrid asked, is it possible to know who's leaving? Yes, there's a like when you became a commissioner, there was a roster of every elected official and commissioner, like their name and when their term expires, and also their address and phone number, and that was sent to you. But I looked at that and I did this. So the youth commissioners whose terms are expiring on, it's either the 27th or the 28th of this month of this year, are going to be Aaron, Sam, Genevieve, Dekai, Jasmine, Cheska, Russell, Danielle, and Monique. And the commissioners who cannot reapply due to their age are Monique, Russell, Cheska, and Aaron, but like with an asterisk, because I guess the city clerk said you can reapply, but you turned 22 this year anyways. So, so the commissioners who can reapply, not and aren't aging out are Sam, Genevieve, Dekai, Jasmine, and Danielle, and I guess Aaron with an asterisk. And if theoretically all of those people who reapplied got back on, which if you reapply, you will most likely get it, though that's the city council's discretion, but you'll most likely get it because they rarely don't like get rid of a commissioner who reapplied. There will still be 2 open seats, but since some people are moving away to college and won't reapply, there's going to be at least more than 2 people, so we'll need to recruit at least 2 people to the commission.
Do you know if, like, in terms of the interview process, that's just going to be all city now, right? Like we won't.
It'll be up to the city council. The city clerk will receive the application and then figure out a date on which to do the interviews. And then the applicant will either go to the city council meeting in person or they'll do it on Zoom. It depends on if they're doing like fully in-person stuff at the time.
Never mind. I forgot my question. Come back to me.
Okay. And if you forget, you can always email Tamika or Mary Jo or myself, or text me, whatever. Okay, does any other commissioner have a question or item or thing they want to talk about? I am seeing no hands and shaking head.
If we want to make a suggestion for a speaker, is it best to contact Tamika separately or?
Whoever.
Okay.
Text me and too, just to like include me. But
I would say we give your recommendations to either Ethan or Aaron, and then when we have our meeting, they can bring the suggestions forward.
Okay, I will send one of you suggestions.
Oh, I remember my question now. How early in advance do we have to send agenda adjustments or like changes?
I believe that's like state law. I don't know. That's a good question. I think it's at least 24 hours before. I believe it's 24 hours, but it may be 72.
72 is when we are required to send it out to the commission.
Okay, 72.
24 for special meetings, sorry.
Okay, which we haven't had yet. We haven't had a special meeting.
Could we have like a subcommittee meeting for the next agenda item or like next meeting?
Sure. Yeah, if we can figure out a date to meet before then. Or if anyone would like to come to the meeting in which Tamiko, Aaron, and I like set the agenda, we can do that just to make it one meeting. Or yeah, we can talk offline about that. So if you would like to put things on the next agenda or have ideas, email or text me and we'll figure out if we want to do a separate meeting or just have it all be one meeting, but we can talk about it. Okay. If anyone has anything else, speak now. No. Okay, so I will adjourn this meeting at 8:07 p.m. I hope everyone has a nice rest of their July.